There's a particular kind of coldness that settles in your gut when you realize someone you thought you knew has been working against you all along. Maybe it's someone you trusted, someone you helped, or someone who seemed to be on your side. But beneath the surface, they've been laying groundwork, setting traps, and systematically dismantling the life you've worked so hard to build. The truth is, while most people are generally good and mean well, there are individuals who derive satisfaction, power, or some twisted sense of justice from destroying others. They might be motivated by jealousy, revenge, competition, or sometimes no rational reason at all beyond their own psychological dysfunction. And here's what makes them so dangerous. They rarely announce their intentions. They work in shadows, smile to your face, and strike when you're most vulnerable. According to psychology research, approximately 4% of the population exhibits sociopathic or narcissistic traits severe enough to engage in calculated harm against others without remorse. That might not sound like much until you realize it means that in a room of 100 people, 4 of them are potentially capable of deliberately ruining your life and feeling nothing about it. Add to that the people who aren't clinically disordered, but are simply toxic, vindictive, or acting out of extreme jealousy, and the numbers become even more sobering. But knowledge is protection. Understanding the warning signs that someone is actively plotting against you can mean the difference between catching the threat early and waking up one day to find your reputation destroyed, your relationships poisoned, your finances compromised, or worse. These aren't signs of ordinary conflict or simple dislike. These are red flags that indicate someone has moved beyond passive negativity into active destruction. Today, we're going to explore the critical warning signs that someone is planning to ruin your life. We'll look at behavioral patterns, psychological tactics, and specific actions that should immediately trigger your defensive systems. More importantly, we'll discuss how to protect yourself, neutralize the threat, and reclaim your sense of safety and control. This isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. It's about trusting your instincts when something feels wrong and knowing what to do about it. So let's dive into these warning signs, because recognizing them early could save your life, your livelihood, and everything you hold dear. Sign 1. They systematically isolate you from your support network. The first and perhaps most critical warning sign is when someone begins deliberately and methodically separating you from the people who care about you, support you, and could help you recognize what's happening. Isolation is the foundation of control and destruction. Every abuser, manipulator, and saboteur knows that their power increases exponentially when you're alone. Friends and family serve as reality checks, sources of emotional support, and witnesses to harmful behavior. When those connections are severed, you become vulnerable, easier to manipulate, and less likely to seek help or be believed if you do. Here's how this typically unfolds. The person targeting you starts by subtly criticizing your relationships. They make offhand comments about how your best friend doesn't really seem to care about you, or how your family doesn't appreciate everything you do for them. These aren't presented as attacks, but as observations, maybe even as concern for your well-being. I just think you deserve better than how they treat you. They might share alleged information about what others have said about you. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but Sarah was talking about you behind your back at the party last week. Whether this is true, exaggerated, or completely fabricated doesn't matter. The seed of doubt has been planted. They're creating mistrust between you and people who actually care about you. As this progresses, they position themselves as your only true ally. I would never treat you that way. You can always count on me. I'm the only one who really understands you. This creates a psychological dependency where they become your primary or sole source of support, which gives them immense power over you. They may also create conflict situations designed to drive wedges between you and others. They might tell different stories to different people, creating misunderstandings and drama. They might deliberately behave badly at events where your friends or family are present, then blame you for their behavior or claim you're responsible for any resulting tension. In romantic relationships, an abusive partner will often forbid or strongly discourage contact with friends and family, sometimes through explicit control, but more often through manipulation. They make you feel guilty for spending time with others, claim your friends are bad influences, or create such a toxic atmosphere around your social life that it becomes easier to just withdraw. The isolation isn't always social. They might also work to isolate you professionally by sabotaging your career opportunities, making it harder for you to maintain financial independence. Or they might isolate you informationally, controlling what you read, watch, or have access to, limiting your exposure to outside perspectives that might help you recognize the abuse. What makes this particularly insidious is how gradual it often is. You don't wake up one day completely alone. It happens slowly. One friendship fades, then another. Family visits become less frequent. You stop going to social events. Before you realize it, your world has shrunk to just you and the person who's been orchestrating this isolation all along. The danger of isolation cannot be overstated. When you're cut off from people who know and love you, several things happen. First, you lose perspective. You have no one to reality check the distorted version of events the saboteur's feeding you. Second, you lose protection. There's no one to witness the abuse, no one to intervene, no one you feel comfortable asking for help. Third, you lose alternatives. When your only relationship is with your abuser, leaving seems impossible because you feel you have nowhere to go and no one to turn to. Pay attention if someone in your life is consistently trying to separate you from others, speaks negatively about everyone else in your life, or makes you feel guilty or anxious about maintaining outside relationships. This is a critical red flag that should never be ignored. Sign 2. They gather information and build a file against you. The second warning sign is when someone is obsessively collecting information about you, your vulnerabilities, your mistakes, and anything they could potentially weaponize. This is reconnaissance for a planned attack. When someone intends to ruin your life, they rarely act impulsively. Instead, they gather ammunition. They're building a case, collecting evidence, and documenting anything that could be used to damage your reputation, relationships, career, or legal standing. This surveillance can take many forms, and in today's digital age, it's easier than ever to execute. You might notice they ask an unusual number of probing questions about your life. Where were you last night? Who were you with? What did you talk about? What are your plans? These questions might seem like normal interest or concern initially, but there's an intensity and consistency to the interrogation that feels off. They're not just making conversation, they're extracting intelligence. They remember everything. Seemingly insignificant details you mentioned months ago get brought up with surprising accuracy. They know your schedule, your habits, your passwords, your financial situation, your past mistakes, and your insecurities. This isn't the natural memory of someone who cares about you. It's the deliberate cataloging of someone building a dossier. In the digital realm, this surveillance becomes even more invasive. They might monitor your social media obsessively, taking screenshots of posts, comments, or photos that could be taken out of context or used against you. They might create fake accounts to follow you or your friends, gaining access to information you've made semi-private. Some go as far as installing tracking software on your phone or computer, reading your emails, texts, and browsing history. They may also recruit others, knowingly or unknowingly, to gather information. They might ask mutual friends seemingly innocent questions about you, or they might spread just enough concern that others start reporting back to them about your behavior or whereabouts, thinking they're helping. What's particularly concerning is when they document your moments of vulnerability or mistakes. Did you have too much to drink at a party? They noted it, maybe even recorded it. Did you share something in confidence about a past relationship, a financial struggle, or a professional mistake? That information is filed away for future use. Did you have an emotional breakdown during a difficult time? They remember every detail. Some saboteurs create actual files, whether physical or digital. They save text messages, emails, voicemails, and photos. They might even keep journals documenting your supposed wrongdoings or character flaws, written in a way that could be presented as evidence if needed. This isn't about preserving memories, it's about building ammunition. The purpose of this information gathering is threefold. First, it gives them leverage. When they're ready to strike, they have material to blackmail you, manipulate you, or coerce you into compliance. Do what I want, or I'll tell everyone about that thing you did. Second, it allows them to damage your reputation strategically. They can selectively reveal information to the right people at the right time for maximum destructive effect. Third, it helps them predict and counter your moves. The more they know about you, the easier it is to anticipate your reactions and stay one step ahead. You might also notice them documenting interactions in real time or immediately after. They send themselves emails summarizing conversations, or they insist on communicating through text or email where there's a record, even about things that would normally be discussed verbally. They're creating a paper trail that they control the narrative of. If someone in your life seems to know too much about your private affairs, remembers every mistake you've ever made with unnatural clarity, or seems obsessed with documenting your actions and words, this is a major red flag. Trust your instincts if you feel surveilled rather than just known. Sign 3. They engage in calculated character assassination. The third warning sign is when someone launches a systematic campaign to destroy your reputation and credibility in the eyes of others. This isn't casual gossip or venting. This is strategic, persistent, and designed to turn people against you. Character assassination is one of the most effective ways to ruin someone's life because reputation is the foundation of so much else. Your professional opportunities, your social standing, your romantic prospects, even your legal credibility, if things escalate that far, all depend on what others believe about your character. A saboteur understands this and attacks accordingly. This campaign often begins subtly with what I call reputation poisoning. They plant small seeds of doubt about your character, competence, or stability in conversations with others. These comments are usually delivered with plausible deniability built in. I'm worried about John. He's been acting really strange lately. I love Sarah, but you have to be careful about trusting everything she says. David's great, but there's something going on with him that seems off. These statements don't make specific accusations, so they can't easily be refuted, but they create a framework through which others begin viewing you. Once that framework exists, your normal behaviors get reinterpreted through a negative lens. If you're quiet, you're acting suspicious. If you're energetic, you're manic. If you defend yourself, you're being aggressive or paranoid. As the campaign escalates, the saboteur begins sharing more specific allegations, often a mix of exaggerations, distortions, and outright lies. They might take something that actually happened and twist it beyond recognition. That time you were justifiably angry about being mistreated becomes a story about your supposed violent temper. That period when you were struggling with depression becomes evidence that you're mentally unstable and unreliable. They're particularly strategic about who they tell what. They understand different audiences and tailor their attacks accordingly. To your employer or professional contacts, they question your competence and work ethic. To your friends, they question your loyalty and trustworthiness. To your family, they express concern about your lifestyle or choices. To romantic interests, they imply you're unfaithful or unstable. Many saboteurs use a technique called DARVO: deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. If you confront them about their behavior, they deny everything, attack your character for making such accusations, and position themselves as the real victim of your paranoia or aggression. This confuses observers and makes you look like the problem. They may also create or manufacture evidence to support their false narrative. In the digital age, this can include doctored screenshots, edited audio or video, or entirely fabricated communications. Technology has made it easier than ever to create convincing evidence of things that never happened. The ultimate goal is to destroy your credibility so thoroughly that even when you try to defend yourself or reveal what's actually happening, no one believes you. They've preemptively discredited you. This is psychological warfare at its most sophisticated. Sign 4. They sabotage your opportunities and create crises in your life that appear accidental or coincidental but follow a suspicious pattern. This sabotage can target every area of your life. Professionally, they might undermine you at work through the tactics we discussed earlier, but if they really want to ruin you, they go further. They might contact your employer with false allegations, anonymously report you for violations you didn't commit, or sabotage important projects in ways that can't be traced back to them. They want you to lose your job, your career advancement, or your professional reputation. Financially, the sabotage can be devastating. If they have any access to your finances, whether through a joint account, shared expenses, or simply knowledge of your financial information, they might steal from you, open credit accounts in your name, make unauthorized purchases, or sabotage your ability to earn income. Even without direct access, they might interfere with your ability to maintain employment or business relationships. In relationships, they work to destroy your connections with romantic partners, friends, and family. They might spread lies about you being unfaithful, abusive, or unstable. They might contact your partner with fabricated evidence of wrongdoing. They might create situations designed to make you look bad or cause conflict in your relationships. The crises they create often have a cascading effect. One disaster leads to another, and suddenly your life feels like it's falling apart on all fronts. Your car breaks down, but when you investigate, you discover it was tampered with. Your important documents go missing right when you need them. You get locked out of critical accounts because passwords were changed or security questions were answered incorrectly. Opportunities that were certain suddenly fall through for mysterious reasons. Some saboteurs will go as far as legal sabotage. They might make false police reports, file false restraining orders, or plant evidence to frame you for crimes. They might report you to Child Protective Services if you have children, or to immigration authorities if you're vulnerable in that way. They weaponize systems and institutions against you. What makes this particularly difficult is that each individual incident might seem like bad luck or an unfortunate mistake, but when you step back and look at the pattern, when you notice that these crises always seem to benefit one person or always happen right when you're about to achieve something, the deliberate nature becomes clear. Sign 5. They exhibit obsessive and escalating behavior. The fifth warning sign is when someone's behavior toward you becomes obsessive, possessive, or increasingly intense in ways that signal they're building towards something destructive. Obsession manifests in many ways. They might show up where you are unexpectedly with suspicious frequency. They drive by your house, appear at your workplace, or seem to coincidentally be at the same social events. They monitor your social media constantly, liking or commenting on posts within minutes of you posting them. They text or call excessively, and when you don't respond immediately, they escalate with multiple follow-up messages or calls. There's often an inability to let things go. If you have a disagreement or you try to create distance, they can't accept it. They push back harder, demand explanations, refuse to respect boundaries. If you try to end a relationship with them, whether romantic, friendship, or professional, they don't allow it. They show up, they contact you through different channels, they refuse to accept no as an answer. You might notice a disturbing sense of ownership. They talk about you as if you're their property, not your own person. They make decisions about your life without your input. They become enraged when you exercise independence or make choices they don't approve of. This possessiveness often comes with jealousy that's completely disproportionate to the situation. The behavior often escalates in concerning ways. What starts as excessive texting becomes showing up unannounced. What begins as criticism becomes threats. What looks like jealousy becomes stalking. There's a progression that suggests the person is losing control or building toward more serious action. Threats, whether explicit or implied, are critical red flags. They might say things like, "You'll regret this. I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are. You haven't seen what I'm capable of," or "I'll destroy you." Sometimes the threats are more subtle. "Be careful. Watch your back. Things could get very difficult for you." Any threat should be taken seriously. You might also notice disturbing emotional instability or rage disproportionate to situations. Small things trigger intense reactions. They oscillate between being loving or friendly and being cold, hostile, or threatening. This unpredictability is itself a form of control and abuse. Protecting yourself, comprehensive defense strategies. Now let's talk about concrete steps you can take to protect yourself when you recognize these warning signs. First and most importantly, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't talk yourself out of your own perceptions because the person seems nice sometimes, or because you feel like you're being paranoid. Your subconscious often picks up on danger signals before your conscious mind fully processes them. Document everything meticulously. Keep records of all communications, incidents, and concerning behaviors. Save texts, emails, and voicemails. Keep a detailed journal with dates, times, and descriptions of events. Take screenshots. If threats are made, document them immediately. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It helps you see patterns clearly, provides evidence if you need legal intervention, and validates your experience when you might start doubting yourself. Strengthen your support network rather than allowing isolation. Reach out to trusted friends and family. Be honest about what's happening. Ask for help. Having witnesses and allies is crucial both for your psychological well-being and for practical protection. Let people know where you are and check in regularly if you feel unsafe. Secure your physical safety. If you feel threatened, take it seriously. Change locks if necessary. Vary your routines so you're less predictable. Consider security cameras for your home. Let your workplace know if you're concerned about someone showing up there. Don't meet the person alone if you must meet them at all. Seek professional help from multiple sources. A therapist can help you process the psychological impact and maintain your mental health. An attorney can advise you on legal protections and options. If the behavior is criminal, law enforcement needs to be involved, though understand that the justice system isn't always responsive to these situations until after something serious has happened. Protect your financial assets. If someone has had access to your financial information, freeze your credit. Monitor your accounts closely for unauthorized activity. Consider opening new accounts at different institutions. Revoke any shared access to financial resources immediately. Create an exit plan if you're in a relationship with this person. Even if you're not ready to leave, having a plan provides options. This includes having access to money, important documents, a place to stay, and transportation. Tell trusted people about your situation so they can help when needed. Consider going public strategically. While you need to be careful about defamation laws, sometimes making others aware of concerning behavior provides protection. If someone is threatening you or engaging in harassment, telling others can create accountability and witnesses. Finally, never underestimate the threat. People who exhibit these warning signs are capable of serious harm. Don't minimize, don't give them the benefit of the doubt at the expense of your safety, and don't wait until something terrible happens to take action. Prevention and early intervention are far better than damage control after the fact. Recognizing that someone is actively planning to ruin your life is one of the most unsettling realizations you can have. It challenges your sense of safety, your trust in others, and your belief in basic human decency. But facing this reality head-on is far better than remaining in denial until irreparable damage has been done. These warning signs exist across a spectrum, from concerning to genuinely dangerous. Not every person who exhibits one of these signs is a serious threat, but patterns of multiple signs, especially with escalation, need to be taken very seriously. Your safety and well-being must be your top priority. Remember that you are not powerless. Yes, there are people who wish you harm, but you have far more resources, strength, and resilience than you might realize in a moment of fear. You have the right to protect yourself, to establish boundaries, to seek help, and to remove dangerous people from your life. Don't let fear paralyze you, but don't let misplaced optimism blind you either. Be alert, be prepared, and be willing to take decisive action when necessary. Trust the people who have proven trustworthy, but verify what you're being told. Build your support network, document everything, and never ignore your instincts. Your life, your safety, your peace of mind, these are worth fighting for. No one has the right to destroy what you've built, who you are, or what you could become. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and remember that the best defense is awareness combined with action. If you recognize these signs in your own life, please take them seriously and reach out for help today. You deserve to live free from manipulation, threats, and sabotage. And with the right knowledge and support, you absolutely can protect yourself and reclaim your life from those who wish you harm. Stay safe, stay aware, and never ignore the warning signs.